Let's take a look. I don't like that big old hole there. Let's not do that. That'll work. And all right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Gonna have to get started a little early today because I got to get out of here early. So I'm gonna probably do about an hour or so of this stuff and get more of these cards done. So if you're on here, looking forward to seeing you. I have four characters I want to do. Start with Black Panther. Got Black Widow. My one of my favorite characters of all time, Blade, and then we'll go to Cable. Knock those four out. So hopefully we'll be able to do those really fast and go from there. So here are my sketch cards. I am in the process of doing 1,000 sketch cards, and right now I believe I'm at I think it's like 25 cards done so far. So I'm going to try to knock out the rest of these as quickly as possible. So I'm going to throw on some music and just go to work. So you know what? I take that out. 'Cause I think I can do my music off of here. Yeah, we'll do that. And we can have something in the background because I don't like it quiet. Let's grab some music. We'll do that. We'll do some Jason Derulo. Okay, I'll try to keep an eye on things as I'm going through. Maybe that's super loud. All right, so we're gonna do Black Panther. Let's get this pose in place. Maybe I can do a claw. I want to get a claw out. And I can always take a look. Like if I look at my old stuff, like that one's got a claw out. So I'm not, I don't know if I really want to do the same exact thing. I don't know if I want to do the Wakanda cross. No idea. But I'm going to take a look and see what I want to do. I can't have that stuff too loud. Let's get to work. Um, let's see. Biggest thing is getting started. Once I get going, I'm good. All right. Got what I want to do. Now the cool part is with these, I can break borders. I don't want to do it too much. Just in certain parts where it's going to make sense. Yeah, I think this is kind of a crazy but lofty goal. Just want to do something very different, you know. I think this is definitely it. How you doing, B? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Yeah, I'm working on my sketch card kit or set that I'm trying to get done before November of next year. 1,000 cards. Not crazy. Should know how to draw this Makita. I don't remember how to do them. Best lighting. Get model reflection. I don't like it. Oh, so I'm working on um, Black Panther. Let me give you just like a preview of what's been done. So these are the ones. There's others that I've already taken commissions on, and I have some other ones. But like I have black. I have. I can't remember this character's name. Um, Adam Warlock. This is Agent 13. Then we have a. It's like a Hulk. He's almost like an Asian Hulk. I've never seen him before, so it's a new one for me. That guy right there. Then we have the one and only America Chavez, Annihilus. This is going to be Ant Man. I just got to finish inking him. I didn't realize I didn't have him done. This is the first card I ever did. This is at my convention. I did Apocalypse because I thought he was going to be the first one to do, but I ended up getting other characters I wanted to do. There's Banshee, Baron Zemo, Beast, Beta Ray Bill. I've never drawn him. This is my first time drawing him, so I was really excited for that. Bishop, Black, not Black Adam, Black Bolt, and then Black Cat. Yeah, this one's gonna be a fun one. I love this character. Um, I don't know if I want to go old school Black Panther because I'm not a. I mean, I like the look of. I believe. Let me take a look. Let's see something because my list is online. I don't know if I have Century on there. I might be making updates to my list because some of the things I do and don't want to do, I just originally put that list up there a long time ago. Yeah, so like I don't have Century on here, but I might do them because the way that the pages are set up, because there are 9 of these per sheet, I actually have 8 extra spots because I'm putting 9 on the front and then 9 on the back. So I'm going to end up doing more. So I'm going to probably add Century there as well because I've only done Century once. I did him during Toon June or June Toon, and that was a fun character to draw. Obviously, because the movie came out, that worked out too. Are those your favorite characters? Hey, Melanie. Good morning. I think I'm gonna go classic. I prefer that one better. Not to go as wild. Yeah, I might take some liberties. Let's see. I might do the one with the hood. I love that look where he's got that little hood that goes up. Yeah, I mean, if anybody's got any like certain characters that they really love, I'm gonna definitely try to integrate those into my stuff. Yeah, I got 4 characters I'm gonna try to do in an hour, so I don't have a lot of time to do them all. Just depends on if time is gonna be nice to me or not. if my drawing abilities are going to work. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go like this is not a Black Panther people are used to seeing, so I'm gonna do this Black Panther because everybody's used to the Chadwick Boseman Black Panther, and that's all that people really that are used to the character know. At least a normal, like average going viewer. But I want to do something different, so I will be utilizing things from all of the little different pieces. So I have this little chain with the little teeth on it. Yeah, if any of you guys have like like characters you like, please let me know. I would love to add them in here. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, any of these cards, if anybody wants any of them, if you want to purchase them, they are available. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate it. Good luck on your work. All right, so we're gonna go old school. That was cool. At least we got one person come through and chat it up. Man, I had a guy, one of my most recent customers, and unfortunately, he's not going to be doing cards anymore with me because he's going to be starting his own store next year, which I think is really cool. But he supported the community. Um, Anywho, he bought a lot of unique cards, and it was stuff that I had either touched on or stuff that I had seen, but not all the stuff that he requested did I know, or did I draw. Like he actually asked for some characters from Cars that I'd never have never thought of like drawing Cars characters, and that was a lot of fun. It's very different. So if you've never taken that shot to draw something like that, I would definitely tell you go for it. It'll push your talents a little bit because you go from a regular object that you're used to or a regular character that you're used to drawing into drawing a vehicle. And if you've never drawn that, it's different. What's up, Professor? Good morning. Good to see you on here. Hope you're enjoying your Tuesday. So the question is, are you up picking up stuff, or are you doing like a stream, or what you doing this morning? Nonetheless, I appreciate you being on here, checking out all the little different streams that all of us were doing this morning. Man, I am so looking forward to this month. It's going to be the best month ever for a comic book person. So I saw a report that we're going to get a look at a possible um, Supergirl trailer coming out this month. We have a possibility for a Spider-Man trailer, which should make sense because it's Only it's a little over 7 months away. And of course, my most anticipated is going to be that Avengers trailer. I am going to be honest with you. I'm a little disappointed that it is coming out, this month. And the reason I say that is because um, I feel that Super Bowl is a huge opportunity, but I have to take that back in the fact that here's the thing: the Super Bowl is still going to happen. They can still drop more trailers between, they could drop a trailer at the Super Bowl, which I think is going to be the play. But this is going to be the trailer. Like, nobody would have thought that, trailers would have been as big as they are for movies. But, you know, when people talk about the fact that this trailer is probably the most important trailer that's ever popped out in a for a movie, they're 100% right. And it's more so for the fact that, it's Marvel has been so powerful for so many years. Um, but this last 5 years has been pretty crappy. I mean, they have been sporadic at best with some of the things that they have done. I will say that this past year, 2025, even though the box office itself doesn't show, the quality of the work that they did, this year of just their movies between Fantastic Four, and the Thunderbolts, those 2 alone were really solid movies, more so than the stuff that they've been putting out prior. So coming off the heels of a Deadpool Wolverine, um, it was a very good way to get the year going because I didn't know if that was gonna work. How you doing there, FaZe? Um, I didn't really know if that was gonna work, but for me personally, I feel that, um his thumb is way too big. Um, I personally feel that it worked out. It worked out really, really well. And with this trailer, we don't know what we're going to get. Like we speculate. There are rumors out there. There's stories that I've even heard personally that from people that know people in that sphere, um, that have heard different stories pertaining to what's going to happen in this movie. And I don't know what's real and what's not. So I'm kind of like turning everything off. So I don't have any, ideas. I don't kind of set a bar for what I'm going to see because I don't want to be disappointed. However, I don't think that Marvel is going to bring us a crappy movie of any sort. I think this is going to be an epic movie and they are going to do the same thing that they did the first time around. They are going to put that emotional spin on it that is going to shock people. Infinity War was just hard you know, to come off of, right? I mean, they destroyed and killed, or I'm sorry, they made a bunch of people disappear, right? In a movie, and it was shocking to a lot of people because it wasn't just your major players; it was people that you really liked. I mean, killing Vision was a big thing, and taking him out the way that he took him out was just crazy. He killed him twice. Twice, man. I mean, that's insane. So the Russo brothers and their crew, I will not just give it to the Russo brothers. I have to give it to everybody that was in production on that movie. They did a phenomenal job coming up with a great story. And I have faith that they will do an even better job on this one because the stakes are so high. And Marvel's putting a lot of money behind this. It's not like they were doing before, where the bed was kind of crap with the King idea. The King thing could have worked, but I think King is going to get killed, like killed in in this new series of movies. I know for sure that they're gonna probably kill Thanos. Scott, how you doing? Noah, welcome to the stream. Working on some sketch cards, talking Marvel stuff right now. Giving my predictions is what's gonna happen in the new Doomsday movie. I personally really feel that, Thanos is gonna really come to an end in this next one. He's been utilized so well throughout these movies. I mean, given credit, like even when you look at him in what is it, the Disney Plus series, he's even used well in there because he was Thanos, like zombie Thanos and zombies, and that was really good. You know, Marvel's definitely brought some heat this year. It's been a good year for them. Oh, you're talking about in Endgame? Yeah. So here's the thing. Now, remember, we're in multiverse, right? So we have multiple versions of the same character. I believe they're going to take God Emperor Thanos. I'm sorry, they're going to take Thanos when he's like older and he's got like the beard and whatnot. They're going to take that Thanos, and I, what would be most impactful is if you remember that scene where Thanos beat the shit out of um, Hulk in Infinity War. If they pull the story where Doctor Doom rips the spine from Thanos, that is one of those like moves that sets the tone for what you're about to see. And it sets the power level of a character like Doctor Doom. And we need to see that. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like when we saw Thanos pop up, now we'd seen Thanos, right? In movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, we'd seen him pop up in Avengers, um, Age of Ultron, stuff like that. We'd seen him, but we had not seen him do anything. He even said that he would rip the bones from a person, right? We had heard him talk, but we had never seen him do or put in work. But those first 5 minutes of Infinity War set the tone and let us know that this being was deadly serious in everything that he was trying to achieve. And that's what we need to understand with Doctor Doom, because once you kind of know the level at which this character is playing at, it'll help you understand, okay, this guy is a threat and he's not a normal threat. And you have to set the bar pretty high for this character because Thanos was hard to beat. Like you realize that it took multiple Avengers to take him down just in Infinity War. And that's when he didn't have all the stones. We're just talking about when they were on Titan. And bear in mind, I'm not talking from the perspective of the stories, right? I'm talking from the perspective of if you think about how storylines and movies work, this makes the most sense. You have to do it something like on that level. See, I know I'm familiar with the stories that they've told so far, and I'm familiar with um what was it? I'm familiar with Doctor Doom and stuff like that. But the thing with Marvel, and one thing that they really stood out when they first started doing things is that they would take inspiration. How you doing, Dust? They would take inspiration from these books. They wouldn't follow the lineage of um, what had been brought to them before in comics, right? A good example of that is like when we look at Civil War. Civil War was not the story that we saw in the movie. It was actually, in my opinion, I think it was better suited for what we'd seen in the movies. Because in Civil War, it was the unmasking of characters, and people died and all that kind of good stuff. It was unmasking our superheroes. Whereas in Civil War, it was literally that. It stood for the name of the title, right? We had a war within inside of the Avengers. Like you had to break up the team in order to bring the team back together, make the stakes a lot higher. I mean, think about it. Like, would that scene of Captain America coming back, catching the spear, would that have been as impactful if he hadn't disappeared for a while? Probably not. But it gave value and validity to it when you saw it and you were like, whoa. And everybody lost their minds when they saw that. And that's what you want to create. You need to have those moments. So when we see Steve Rogers come back in whatever capacity, I don't know how they're going to pull this off. People are just trying to figure it out. What's up, Just Town? Um, Nobody knows how it's going to be done, except for the people that are behind the scenes. But we as fans, we're speculating. We don't know. We're not going to know until next year. This time, it's going to be huge. But I can tell you this much: when that trailer drops, and I'm hoping that the trailer is going to drop here. Let's see, Avatar comes out what in a week or so. When that trailer drops, it's going to be epic. I mean, I remember when people saw the Deadpool Wolverine trailer, they were like, like losing their minds, laughing crazily. This one's going to be more like a whoa. So it's going to have that moment at the very end of the trailer where people are like, "Oh my goodness, this is going to be huge." That's why I said this one, just like all the other pundits that are out there talking about it, they're like, "This is the most important trailer ever," and it is. I never thought I'd get to a point in my life where I would see something like this happen, but there's never been a movie series like this. I mean, you think of legacy franchise, right? We think of James Bond. We think of who else has had a large franchise? We'll even say it like Friday the 13th and stuff like that. Nothing has really had that kind of like huge impact. And I'm hoping, what I would like to see in the course of my life, as these movies start coming out, what I would love to see is this rivalry between DC and Marvel come to life, but in the movies, where DC can have great stories just like Marvel does, and we can look forward to great adventures, just like we did in comics in the '90s and even the '80s, where it was we had a choice. We could choose sides. We could enjoy both sides, and that's where it should be. As a viewer, we need to have that. We don't have that right now. We have other movies that we can enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I agree. They have been, but can you also believe that? Do you firmly believe like the Dark Knight or the Batman series that were done, like the Dark Knight, Dark Knight Rises, Batman Returns? I'm sorry, Batman Begins. Would you not put them up there with some of the Marvel movies that have been produced? This guy's almost done. Because what I would say is that yes, Marvel movies have been far superior, but they've also been more consistent up until we hit Spider-Man, or after, no, sorry, after Shang-Chi. That was when we kind of hit this like weird speed bump. I would say if DC could get their act together, they would be good. Good morning. How you doing? Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I hope you have a great Tuesday as well. Yeah, I mean, agreed. I would throw one more in there. I would say Man of Steel will still always be my favorite out of all of that. Um, Batman, uh, The Dark Knight. It it's a very like out of that trilogy, The Dark Knight is the best one. Um, Wonder Woman was really good because it finally put a female character of a Wonder Woman status at a good peak. Aquaman, for me, I think it was good. I don't think it was like great. Um, I will say the Justice League um Snyder cut is really good. It's really good. But to your point in reference to the DC keeps on rebooting itself. I really want you to think about Spider-Man. Think about Fantastic Four. How many times have those things have been rebooted, right? And it took somebody with vision to be like, hold on, there's nothing wrong with these characters. All we have to do is back them up with a good story. And I think that's, you know, if they keep James Gunn doing James Gunn's job, not director, he needs to be the creative on this. And that I think is going to be the biggest hurdle that they're going to have to do. They're going to have to be like, James, listen, I know you love to direct, but you have to make a choice. You either need to direct or you need to be the creative. And if you're not going to be the creative, we need to find somebody that is as good as you, that knows the lore, to be able to produce these particular pieces and get the team rallied up. Kevin Feige could not direct and do the job that he does. And it's proven like he can't do multiple jobs. Like he can only juggle so many balls at one time. And I'm sorry, um, trying to think of his name. Um, James Gunn is not going to be the man to run this if he keeps on doing what he's doing. It's going to suffer. I don't care what they say. It's going to suffer. The product will definitely sour because he will burn out. You can't do it. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see. I'm not the only person in the that believes that the new Superman. I'm not a big fan of him. I'm not saying that he's bad. Well, I mean, think about this. Like they're about to have to replace characters, right? When they do this, um, yeah, I mean they did replace Black Panther, right? And that I don't think that was a good move. I think that was a bad move. Well, here's the thing: you can think about Hulk, all right? And I'm going to put it in the same context. Now, um, Edward Norton played Hulk, right? but because of his views and whatnot, Marvel and he did not see eye to eye, right? So they put in a new actor to take that spot, right? And it didn't hurt the character. I believe with Black Panther, what should have been done is they should have found a different actor to play that because Shuri has a different level. But you know what? Here's the thing: Hulk hasn't had a standalone movie. Hold on, Hulk didn't make a good standalone movie. You don't think that Hulk movie was a good movie? Wow. Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. Um, I I mean, I thought for once, I'll be honest with you, I like that Hulk because that's the Hulk that I grew up with the '90s, and for me, I was like, okay, this is my Hulk. I love this, the look of him, the feel of it. I think if they had expanded on it, it would have probably been better. I think stopping at one was not the right move. Um, I will say with like Black Panther, gotcha. Well, I think Hulk would be one of those guys that you could like if he was doing Planet Hulk. No, no, that's quite all right. I think if Hulk was to do like Planet Hulk, I think that would serve way better because that's a story that would make sense, and then it would keep in mind a Hulk has to play against people that are of similar power status. So when he was going against Thor, that made sense. But when you're going Hulk against, say, like a Loki, there's no. I mean, that's not really a battle, and he needs to be in an atmosphere that makes sense where he's battling characters and creatures that are of same stature or stronger. I'm waiting to see the day where we're going to see like Hulk versus Red Hulk. That would be epic. I would love that. But back to the point in reference to them replacing characters. So um I feel like Shuri was not a good pick. Shuri just does not have that gravitas um that Black Panther has. I will never take away, you know, Shuri's character, and I will never put that card out there like a woman never should have been, Black Panther. I don't believe that. What I feel is like when you compare Shuri to her brother, right? Shuri is the brains. She is not the brawn and the brains, and she's not a leader, right? If you had given it to Okoye would have been a great person, or the girl that was Black Panther's girlfriend. Those would have been perfect characters to put in the Black Panther role. Those would have made perfect sense. But she was not the one I would have put in that role. It just didn't fit. Um, I think that was due to the fact, you did have that death that did happen, and I think that really messed with the thought process when Ryan Coogler was coming up with that story. I don't think that helped it at all. All right, I'm done with this character for now, so I'm going to do the rest of that in color. So he's good to go. Black Panther is ready to rock, and he's ready to get some color on him. So we'll get him in there. Just so you guys did, I know you guys didn't get the chance to see these, so I'm going to show these to you. So these are the other ones here. All right. So we're going to pop that in there. So I have to get at least two more done before I go the day. Yeah, I think there's so much potential for where they can go with things, and I'm hoping that I'm going to get to see that over the course of time. But yeah, I will definitely say Marvel's got a far more superior quality product, and the reason for that is that they they planned, and I firmly believe like if they can get back to the days where they would plan out an arc and have a large scale plan and then have all of the steps to get to that, they're not going to be beat. at all. I mean, when I think about it, the way that they created this world, right, of Marvel, it's just like what they used to do in old, like comic books of old. And I wouldn't even say just like last 5 years. We're talking about when they used to have those big arcs that used to last a year or a year and a half. So like the death of Superman, and I'm showing my age by this because the way that they produced it, I appreciate it more now than when I was a kid. But when they did the death of Superman and they brought out Doomsday, that whole series went for an entire year, you know, introducing this character and showing how, just epic of a character he was, and putting it across multiple books where he is just annihilating the hell out of everybody. That was a awesome series. When they went ahead and did Infinity War, same thing. That was a huge arc, and I think that lasted almost a year. When they went ahead and did what's that other story that they did? Secret Wars, same thing. Large arc over multiple books, over multiple months. When they did Onslaught and they reset the entire landscape. How you doing, Jungle? Same thing. Same exact thing. They put it over a series of time. So if you look back when we got Marvel, right? When we saw Avengers come up, we thought we were going to see Thanos put down, throw down in Avengers because we had been waiting for that for years, right? So that whole series started in 2008. We didn't see Thanos until 2012 at the end of Avengers, right? And we thought we were going to see Thanos throw down. No, they started giving us little stories within the middle of that, and then sprinkled Thanos throughout that entire line. So we got him in Guardians. We got him in, I think, Guardians 2. I know we got him in Avengers 2. And, we got a little bit of him throughout. And then all of a sudden they dropped him in Avengers Infinity War. But it took us getting those little bits and those little morsels in order for us to really appreciate what we were getting. It took a lot of time for us to get that and enjoy it. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to good storytelling. I'm looking forward to the back and forth, and I'm looking forward to seeing good things. Like when we look at Batman, the latest one that just came out, I thought that was a really good take because it wasn't the typical superhero-y Batman. It was the detective Batman. Other than the last 30 minutes of the movie, I thought the movie was fantastic. Great soundtrack, great Batman, and I did not see the main character as like the Edward from the whatever movies those were, as the vampire. I just didn't see him. I hated those movies, right? Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'll go back to what I said before. I think James Gunn is a very good person to put in place. I think he is honestly the Kevin Feige for the DC world. The only problem with him is that he can't direct. He cannot direct and do the creative at the same time. You just don't have the energy to do it. Your creative energy is going to be tapped. And unless he has a team with him that's helping him do this, you can't be he is the main creative officer. you know he's split between him and the financial guy, right? But you're going to notice, like, if he doesn't do something now and be like, okay, look, I got to back off of this directing thing, I got to focus on the creative because we have a 10-year goal that we want to do. And that they don't have that, from what the reports have shown. They don't have a 10-year plan. I believe the plan's only set up for like 3 years. So the course of his contract, right? And that could be a problem if they don't have the right people in place. And as good of a director as I know he is, I don't believe that he can do both. I thought he did a good job on Superman. It wasn't my favorite Superman. It was a James Gunn Superman. It was very gunny, right? But I want to see other directors make these characters come to life. I really do. One second, I'm just gonna get my. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're gonna come out with. Want to see what I'm gonna do here for Blade. I think Blade's my next one. No, Black Widow's my next one. Let me. I'm really trying to get back into doing my female characters. It's been a long time since I really pushed to do female characters, so I'm definitely working on that. Okay. All right. So let's see what we can do here. Yeah, I'm thinking that it's going to be a fun um like the next 24 months, next 2 years are gonna be so important, and that landscape is gonna change, if things go the way that they're about to go. So if you're not in the know, Paramount, not Paramount, Warner Brothers is looking to possibly sell the Warner Brothers studio. Like they're in negotiations to, sell to other companies. Like they've already taken um preliminary offers from companies such as like Netflix and Paramount, right? So that being the case, we got to keep in mind if that happens, like something goes through where one of these other companies take it, they have the option of getting rid of James Gunn. And what could happen with getting rid of James Gunn and the other CEOs is that we could end up having another DC reboot. We could actually have that happen, which I think would be detrimental, but it could happen. Yeah, she's got that bangle. Let's here. I'll make sure I get all those little details in place. Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm super worried about because I don't want to see another reboot. I am so freaking tired of seeing that. I just want to see a solid, consistent series. That would be very nice for me to see. I think the public just definitely wants to see that happen. I'm getting tired of seeing the same BS happening. I thought the same thing. Like when they announced that they were going to do a Fantastic Four movie, I was like, again, really? I went in there with cautious optimism. I was thankful though when I heard that they were going the cast that they picked. Pedro Pascal. I thought he was the right choice. However, I think the tone of him was wrong. Him being soft, like he was, that was off. You know, Reed Richards is a lot more of an assertive character than they put him in that role, and I did not like that. That for me was not not appealing. Eyebrow there. Yeah, I thought Reed Richards was in my opinion, in that movie, he was the weakest character in there. And then when they said that they were going to bring in Galactus, I was super worried. Because how do you make Galactus make sense? And they actually didn't make him like this super huge person. He was probably about maybe 60 story or yeah, maybe like 60 to 30 stories tall. I mean, he was obviously huge, but he wasn't a planet size character. And that made a lot more sense. Let me pull her hair a little bit further back. And I will have to make her chin a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're working on this Black Widow. She's got this nice little sniper rifle. I can't remember what her belt looks like. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. It's like we might only be able to get two of these out of here today. See, that's what happens when I start talking. I don't get things done as quickly as I hope to. Let's see here. Trying to pull a reference for Black Widow. I think I'm gonna just do so. Let's give her that traditional belt. I'm not gonna have enough room to put in the the Black Widow symbol. But I think what I could do is because I want to put it in here, I'm going to put it right here on her shoulder. Put it right there on her. That way I can have it. Let's take a look at Scarlett Johansson's version of her. Yeah, she doesn't have it there. Okay. We'll give her like right there in the glove. Rock and roll. Let me just define some of these little areas. So I don't want to mess this up. This is where. Man, did anybody out there other than me take a look at the Stranger Things um, first? Uh, I would guess the first part of season 5. Because I cannot be the only person that saw that. I'm so proud of what they did in that series. I was a little curious on how they were going to handle it, and they brought the heat. So proud. They moved the story forward. Everything made sense. Um, I hate to be the critical one, but as far as like look and everything, Vecna, I'm not a big fan of Vecna's look for this season, but he looks cool though. I don't want to give it away for anybody that hasn't seen it. I'm not going to tell any spoilers of any sort, but they did move the story in a good path. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on this part. I don't want to mess her up. It's very easy to do that in this part. Very small because I don't really want her to have a lot of emotion. I just want her to kind of like more be a force. You know, people give Black Widow crap, but I thought Black Widow was not a bad movie. Could have been better, but it wasn't bad. And I'm gonna probably say something about the Thunderbolts now. If you haven't seen it, I apologize, but I'm gonna spoil something for you. What they did to Taskmaster in that movie, I think Taskmaster got done dirty. I think that character definitely could have been utilized in a different capacity. Killing that person off was not the smart play. Because Taskmaster is a cool villain. However, I don't think it made sense to have her be part of the Thunderbolts. That didn't kind of gel very well. That didn't make a lot of sense. But for the for a movie and understanding how they're trying to move the movie forward, it made sense to kill her for that reason. But I don't like the fact that they got rid of that character. I like that character. Yeah, should have some people popping in. I would back up on here on Thursday, so it's all good. I think watching TV and keeping up with some of the stuff. I'm trying to watch a lot of things that are not in the same space. I've been catching up on things that I never thought I would see. Like there's a show that just popped up on Netflix. It's called The Startup. Now, I've heard of Crackle, and however, I never subscribed to it. But Crackle years ago made this show, and it's basically this girl that came up with the new form of currency. So we've had Bitcoin, but hers was called Gencoin, and it was going to transform how we um, do all of these services. It's kind of ironic considering when the digital coins were really making a move, but this is what it was talking about. However, it deals with a lot of corruption and a lot of the things that go along with trying to create something like that. How much startup you actually have to have, how much money that you have to go and get, and then also some of the back end things that we don't like to see. And of course, it was very fictionalized, because unless you're in that space, you only know about that. Um, but a lot of back end deals, a lot of death, people doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. But overall, good series though. It stars one of the characters from Superman. Can't remember his name, but he's the one that played, what's his name? Doctor. Let's see. I'll pull it up here. Gotta remember his name. He played Mr. Terrific, and his name is Eddie Thigi. That's how you pronounce his name. But he was really good in there. Fantastic, in fact. So if you ever get a chance, take a look at that movie. It's or that series. It's 3 seasons. I've made it through the first two. I'm on the third right now. Gonna see how it all ends. It's unfortunate, like, you get a good series and then all of a sudden it ends. But if it ends and it makes sense, that's cool. It's the ones that end and don't make any sense that are frustrating. And if you haven't seen it, man, check out that show Animal Kingdom. It was an old TNT show about some guys that are uh, thieves. I think if you make it through the first, I think, 2 seasons, those are really good. It's weird in the third season. However, it does give a lot of history to the people in the show. So I will definitely say it's a fun show to watch. It definitely is. About that. Put that there. Connect the sniper or the silent the scope. Having issues with the words that I need for this. I think she's looking good. I think we're gonna be able to wrap this one up and then we gotta go and call it a day because we gotta get going to work. But I'll be back on Thursday. I believe I'm supposed to be back up here Thursday morning. I might be here Thursday afternoon, but I think my schedule says Thursday morning. If that changes, I will update. But I'm just going through that list. I mean, I'm gonna be posting all of these things um, today so that everybody can see what's available. You are not limited to only the ones that I post. So if you have any ones that you want to have done, don't hesitate. I mean, it might inspire me to add it to the list. I just have to add the categories that I have for this whole thing. I have some good ones that are coming down the pipe. I mean, the first three are all going to be comic book based, so I can just get those out of the way. So I get to do a lot of characters that I've either done or characters that are new to me. I don't draw a lot of DC stuff, but I have a nice little 100 DC characters that I'm going to draw. You have some of my favorites in there. Hey, Momo, welcome to the cast. Um, so I'm going to do some of those characters for that series, and then I'm going to do Image Comics. So of course, there's going to be a lot of invincible characters in there that I want to draw because I've never drawn some of those characters. I want to draw Thrag. He's one. I'm definitely doing my Battle Beast in there. So I've drawn him before, and I like that character. He's really cool to draw. What else do I want to do? Gonna bring back Savage Dragon. I have to do Spawn because he's one of my favorites. I'm gonna do all of the Wildcats. So anybody that knows the original um, set of characters that came out in Image comic books, all of those will be in there because I really want to pay my homage to those creators. Those are some of my favorites. Okay. I think I've gotten all of the parts that I want to do today. Yeah, she looks good. Because then all I gotta do is come back and I just hit them with color and they're good to go. So let me go ahead and just do my outline and then she's done for the day. Oops, that would have been bad if I'd used that one. Okay, so this is a 0.01. We're just gonna go around and thicken up these lines here around her. I'm just doing the outside. We're not doing the inside of here. And then when we put the color in, we'll probably end up adding some other stuff. Hey, Wolverine, welcome to the stream. Wrapping up this Black Widow piece. This is one of my 1,000 sketch cards I'm going to be doing during the course of this whole year. So by this time next year, I should have all 1,000 done. Making pretty good pace for the start, but it's all about, the long term. I don't want to go ahead and lose all my momentum in the beginning. I really want to stay consistent. So I have a weekly goal of doing 20 cards a week, and I think that's realistic, and I got to stick with that. So it's measurable. So that's what I want to do. Okay. So I think I got her weapon all squared away. I don't get a chance to draw a lot of guns. So I want to work on those details. But I think she's looking really good. Any thoughts? All right. I think she looks really good. You get a signature on her. Yeah, let me know if you want to see any of the other cards. I'll go and show those to you. All right. So that is. Hey, Grana. All right. So let me zoom this out so that way you guys can see what's up here. Mm, okay. All right. So this is what we have up for grabs, right? So we obviously have Black Widow that I just did. Um, at Baron Zemo, there's Beast, Beta Ray Bill, Black Cat, Black Bolt, Bishop, Black Panther. That's just on that page. And then on the back side of that, I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember who this first character is. I'll tell you in just a second. So this is Angela Brand. Oh, sorry, Abigail Brand. Adam Warlock, Agent 13. Okay. Sharon Carter's niece. This right here is Amadamus Chow, America Chavez, Annihilus. This will be Ant Man when I get him inked up. Uh, Apocalypse, and then Banshee. So right now I'm sitting at where I wanted to be. I have this card here. So put me at 18 here. And I'm looking at 841. Do I want to try to do that one? You know what? What the hell? I'm gonna try to see if I can knock out Blade really fast because that'll finish that whole set, and then I can just color all those today. Let me see if I can get a. Let me see if I can get a reference for Blade, and I'm gonna go and knock that out. Hey Jess, how you doing? Or Jesse? Mm, let's grab this. I could always put Blade here. And I can get that smile. Because one of my favorite scenes from Blade is um, the the scene where he is in the club and he kills all the vampires. The Blood Rave, that's what it's called. Yeah, anybody wants to go ahead and, throw down and be like, "That movie wasn't good," I will fight you. That movie, for me, that's where Marvel, really started. 1999, Blade, awesome, awesome. That movie was so much fun and so unique for its time because you actually had a badass, uh, putting in the work. Like, he was a really cool character. Like, he was not bad, he was just cool. And that's what we needed for that time period. We just needed somebody that was cool. So let me put the blade in first. Let me put the hilt. It's gonna be on the shoulder. Um, as of right now, I don't do sketching on a bid. I just have like flat rate pricing. Why, was there something that you were looking for? Yeah, I can definitely do that. Were you looking for like a sketch card or were you looking for something a little bigger? Yeah, I can definitely do that one. Yeah, if you on my in my inventory there it should say sketch cards. It's got pricing for that, and you can place your order through there, and that'll go out as soon as tomorrow. The only time I take a little longer is if I have multiple things that I'm doing. Yeah, it should. I think it's got a picture of like magic or something like there on the sketch card one. I don't know if I really like that one. No, no, no. All of the sketch cards, and I even put this in the description. All the sketch cards come in color. So to give you an idea, this is what you're gonna get. So you see that guy right there, Apocalypse. That's what you're gonna get. Unless you request that you don't want color, they come with color by default. That's one of the reasons. Like my rate is a little higher. Yeah, he's available. Yeah, any of the sketch cards that I've already done, anyone can buy. Yeah, let me zoom out real fast. Hang on. Um, all right, so I'll just do this. I'll just do them as three at a time, so that way you can kind of see what's up. All right, so that's the first set. You got Adam Warlock in there. You got Agent 13 in there. Um, let's see who we got next. You got Anonymous Chow, a man of the Manidus Chow. I think that's how they pronounce his name. America Chavez, Annihilus, Um, that'll be Ant-Man when I finish getting him inked today. Of course, you saw that Apocalypse. There's Banshee. Um, Baron Zemo. There's a Beast, Beta Ray Bill, Bishop, Black Bolt, Black Cat, and today I went ahead and knocked out like a old school Black Panther, and then there is Black Widow, and then now I'm working on Blade. But I'm basically just so you have an idea. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, yeah. Hold on one second. I can show you that right now. Yeah, let me show you the in fact, let me pull it up here so you can see it. Because it's actually in my coloring book that I produced that's up there. So I'll show it to you. Let's see, where are you? Yeah, I think you'll like this. This is a pretty dope piece. So can you see him? And then the Wolverine one, there's a Wolverine one that's part of this too, and that's the Wolverine one. No, the coloring book's still there. I still have the coloring book available. So the coloring book has 13 pieces in it, but you would get that. And the coloring book is 8.5 by 11. But yeah, anything that you'd like to have, that's cool. No, I haven't, but I will definitely look that up. Let me take a look because I'm not familiar with that one. Let me see. Sabretooth. You want Texas version? Let me see if I'm gonna pull them up just to make sure I have the right one. Like that Sabretooth right there? Okay, let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me see if I can find that. Point. Mm, let's see. Let me pull this up. That better? Okay, cool. Yeah, I can do a dope. I can definitely do Sabretooth. Sabretooth is one of my favorite old school characters. I like him in the classic golden orange or golden brown. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Do that for you. Yeah, so you just let me know which ones you want, and I'll make it happen for you. All right. What do you want Wolverine doing? You want the Weapon X Wolverine? All right, so we're gonna do side by side. So, do you want them like coming at each other, or do you want him like coming like facing towards you? Hey, Kayleen, how you doing? Nice to meet you this morning, Miss Kayleen. All right, so you want them face to face going at each other. Okay, I can do that. I can definitely do that. So let me put this on my list. So we're gonna have we'll have Wolverine on this side. All right, so we're gonna go Sabretooth. We're gonna go Sabretooth Tex. Okay, so you want this? Okay, cool. We can do that. Okay, I can do that. Now, on my cards, just so you know, I do have like this little margin. Again, it's hard to see, but you see that little margin right there? So it will still come through. I just don't want like having it where the it's going to like mess up the card. So, but it will come across. So Sabretooth coming across and then Wolverine kind of bracing for the hit. It kind of reminds me of that old Thor versus Hulk, or sorry, Thor versus Silver Surfer cover that was done years ago. That's what I'm thinking. All right, and then we're gonna do Wolverine, Weapon X style. Okay, I got you. I got you. So what'll end up happening is you'll when you do that purchase thing. All right, when the cards come. All right, so no border at all. Okay, I can do that. All right, so what I'll do is like this. Now, when you get the cards, they're going to be top loaders. So I'm not giving you like crappy stuff. So you'll have a top loader on there when you get them shipped out, so they don't mess up the card. I feel like that's going to give you a better quality piece. Okay, I can definitely do that for you, for sure. And you'll actually, I think I have Sabretooth on my list, and I think that'll knock out Sabretooth, so that'll be helpful. I think he's on my list. Let's see. Wow, Sabretooth did not make my list. That's okay. All right. So when you go ahead and do that purchase, I'll go ahead and put that on my list and I'll get that going today. Um, I'll definitely be up here on Thursday. So if anything, I might wait to do it on Thursday so that way I can have it live. Yeah, I can definitely do it live. I can do it live on Thursday because I'll be up here Thursday morning and I'll do it live so that way you can see it. I can save it for that. And then what I'll do is I'll save it for Thursday morning. I'll have all your shipping and everything ready to rock. And and then I'll literally, as soon as I'm done, I will send it out and you'll have it whenever the mail service decides to send it. Caitlin, thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's just some of the stuff I do. All right, so Wolverine, I'm gonna put this on my list for Thursday. So your stuff will be done for Thursday. Yeah, as far as like the stuff that I'm doing, you guys, and I'm just gonna put this as a blanket thing. So I'm doing 1,000 sketch cards, in addition to all the other artwork that I do. Um, but I have a goal of hitting 1,000 sketch cards, 10 different categories. So I have categories like comics. I'm doing anime. So if anybody's an anime fan out there, let your friends know. If you want to get some, let me know. I'm going to be doing Pokemon for the first time ever. I'm doing my own Pokemon set. And of course, you're going to have your traditional ones. I'm going to have my favorite in there, which is Mewtwo. Um, I'm going to be doing all Transformers. Um, what's another one I'm doing? I'm doing wrestlers. And there's a couple more. I can't remember the top all of them off the top of my head, but I'm gonna post those today. I've been meaning to post them for a while. So if you go to my Instagram, they will be on there. So that way you can see all of the different categories. Actually, you know what? I have the categories right here. Here are all the categories. Thought I didn't have them. They're right there. That's all of them. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start posting them on Instagram. I'll post them on my Discord boards that I'm on, and then I'm also have them on Facebook and any other, sites that I have. But just to kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff that's been done. Okay, so you got Lola Bunny, that kind of stuff. There's a Wolverine that I did, and these were all commissions that somebody asked for. The Insta is going to be this. So if you go to that, you'll see it all there, and I will have the lists up there for each thing that I'm doing, but I'm not posting what I'm doing until I finish the 100 because I feel it works on two different levels. One, I don't want to set an expectation that I'm not going to hit. I know I'm going to hit the 1,000, but I think if I put it too far out there, I'm setting myself up for failure. So if I put 100 up there, it gives people the chance just to go through the 100 that are there. And then also they'll be like, okay, well, I know he's doing more in this category. Let me see that category pop up, and then I'll see that list. And if I see somebody I want in there, I can get that. Or I can get something else. You're not locked into only buying what's in the 1,000. You're not locked into any of that stuff. If you want a special character, let me know and I'll hook it up. So like somebody request like this guy requested Jack Sparrow. Just things I'd never done before. This guy is from Princess Bride, Mystique, Bugs Bunny, got some Thor in there, Anastasia. That's Dormammu, specifically from the Marvel Capcom game. And you got Kitty Pride. Everybody loves Loki. Doctor Strange, I love that one. This guy, he was from Hook and then Death. That's all of them. No, actually, let me back. Yeah, Whatnot is fun. Whatnot is really fun. I came on to Whatnot thinking I was just going to do it for sales at first. Then it became more of a thing where I decided I wanted to do it because I wanted to have time dedicated to doing my art, which is what I love to do. And honestly, anytime that I get somebody that wants to do a sale with me, it's just icing on the cake. And I love the support. I love the community that's here. That's the biggest part. Like I get to meet people like you and like Wolverine, and then I've had other clients that I've worked with, and you don't get that, in any other thing that I've seen. It's kind of cool. Yeah, the community is the best thing. I've found like there's some stories that I've heard from people on here that I never thought I would hear. Some of the way that people create their art, like I've met tattoo artists, I've met a lady that um, went through like some very difficult times in her life and now does art based on spiritual scriptures. It's just really dope. Some of the things that you get to see. So, do you do stuff on here? Do you have a store, or are you just more of like a patron? All right, I'm gonna push to get this guy down here. Yeah, it's fun doing it on here. So when you tried to do it, did you think it was hard? A rock show coming up. Are you painting rocks? You got me intrigued. Oh, that's cool. That's very, very neat. Yeah, if you're not a person that's used to talking on the camera, it could be rough. Oh, you must be on the like Nevada and stuff like that. That's what it sounds like. Ah, okay. Man, I get a lot of you guys from California. I've never been there. I mean, I've been to LAX. That's as far as I've gone to California. Well, I can say this much. I don't like the expense. California is very expensive. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I prefer being where I'm at. I'm in Florida, so it's not that bad. We got beaches. Of course, we're starting to get a little bit more overpopulated, but that comes with the territory. Florida is depending on where you're at in Florida. I'm on the east coast of Florida, so it is very beautiful. The Gulf can be a little bit tricky, be a little murky sometimes, depending on where you're at. You know what? I would tell you if you can make the trip, come out to Florida. Um, I would say, the West Coast is very nice, like Tampa, Florida. Yeah, I would just say, just gotta say fuck it and go for it and go, come on out. It's fun. I would just say this much. People in Florida are buttheads. Not all of us, but a lot of them are buttheads. Traffic, the further south you go, the worse it gets. You know, I would say that, but I've been to Hawaii. I've been parts of Pittsburgh, which I really loved. Texas was really good, but I will say definitely in Florida because we have an influx of different cultures and people here. Not everybody's is accepting, and they tend to be a lot. I will say Hawaii was probably my favorite state to visit. Pittsburgh is probably one of my favorite cities to have ever visited. Well, that's good. That's a really good thing to have. Really good attribute. Yeah, not everybody's built that way. Yeah, I tend to get frustrated with some of the people and more so the driving in Florida. We're one of those states that suffered because of COVID. Everybody decided to just travel to Florida, and pricing just went insane. So like our housing stuff went from, let's just say, a rental would go at like $1,500 a month up to like 3 grand. Yeah, it's insane. We got inundated, unfortunately, with a lot of folks that came from the north, and then we also got a lot of folks that came from the south. So both of those environments were very expensive. So for people in New York, $3,000 for a house versus like an apartment was a huge plus. Taxes were less, interest rates were less, so they would just come down here, and because of that happening, people saw an opportunity, and it made things a little bit more unfavorable for people that were already here. Made things very unstable. Yeah, it was a sucky time. It's finally starting to kind of balance out. Yeah, as a person that's, lived here all my life, watching people not be able to afford housing it's pretty horrible. Um, yeah, that part, I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand why we can't figure this problem out. I get it. Like, people want to make money. I understand that. That part, I don't I don't deny. But pricing people out, I'd rather have a person that is renting from me that is consistent, where I know that that bill is getting paid versus charging somebody an astronomical amount and then not being able to afford it. Because then you get them in there, they go ahead and rent your place, and because they're pissed off because they can't afford it, they typically will mess your place up, and then you're screwed again. So from a realtor side of things, or a renter side of things, I think that's stupid. I think also, from The banking side, I think it's really bad that, you approve people for these weird amounts and they can't afford it. So you end up screwing them into a corner. It just doesn't make any sense. I'd be like talking to them like, is this something that you can really afford to do? Like, can you practically afford to buy this house for $500,000 and know that you're going to be paying like 3 grand a month for your bill? Yeah, that is exactly what the problem is. We have a company or a family that has bought up tons of property here in Florida. Now, this is a large company that has, millions and millions of dollars to spend. And they bought up property and then they took all of that property and boosted up the prices for it. I mean, to obnoxious rates. And that's where I feel like the government needs to come in there and put a cap on some of that stuff. I mean, do their job and make it a little harder for people to do that. Yeah, yeah, it's frustrating. How much money do you really need? We talk about this stuff like in my church and whatnot. But one of the biggest things that we run into is like money issues, and we divide people. I had this debate. I didn't have a debate. I had a discussion with somebody where I said, um, we are no longer, well, we're getting to a point where we're no longer going to have a upper, middle, and a lower class. We're just going to have upper and lower. And there's going to be a strong divide between those two. I mean, I know people that are doing side hustles just to make ends meet in addition to working their full-time jobs. And that's a problem on a couple different levels. I mean, you look at it from the fact, okay, there's only so many hours on a workday, right? And if you have a significant other or you have children, sorry, and or you have children, you have to be able to make time for them. When you don't make time for that, you're losing. Yeah, that's a lot, you know. With that many kids, you want to make them feel important, and kids really need that from their parents. And if you don't do that, it could harm them, and it can harm the relationship that you have. Again, it's causing that division problem. And I think from a larger level, like when we look at our government, they don't see it from that perspective because they're on that high hill and they don't see it. Like they don't see how it affects, people like yourself or myself, working those multiple jobs. It's tough. And from my side of things, I'm like, we need to stop doing that. We need to start looking at each other and figuring out how we can make things a little bit easier for people. I'm not saying that, everybody needs to be on food stamps and all this kind of and government assistance. I feel firmly that people need to work, but they shouldn't have to work where they can't enjoy time with their families and they can't have some self care time. And self care time meaning that you could either get your nails done, you get hair done, you can go to the beach, you can breathe. You know what I'm saying? Okay, tell you, those are important. You know, yeah, I know. Like everybody's out for themselves. And yes, the richer that you get, sometimes the less perspective that you have. You get very jaded. You feel like you're better than other people. I think when people stop doing that, then we're going to start seeing some better results in our world. But it's going to take a lot of people to change that momentum. It's a bigger problem that people don't realize. So when you think about it, the reason why we're not able to make any change, make any impact, is because we have been programmed to move fast, and we don't sit and really think about what the consequences are, right, of our actions. So if you well, think about it, because and I will say this right now, depending on I don't know how old you are, but I'm gonna put my age out there. So I was born in '78. So I've had a chance to see where things were slower to where things are like moving at like seconds, milliseconds pace. So when you think of how we operate on a day-to-day basis, when we had to go find something, like say for example, we need to cook, we didn't have our phone to go there and instantly get what we needed. We had to go to a cookbook, go through the pages, and then find the recipe and then follow the recipe. That took time to go through. If we want to read a book, we no longer physically sit down for hours and read a book. We will now go on, we will listen to the book, which doesn't really give you appreciation for things, right? So everything is all about right now. And that's a programming that people don't even realize is going on. So the broader perspective is that when somebody puts something out there, we don't really sit there, digest it, think about it, and then make a decision. We're just like, oh, so when global problems happen, they're important for a day, and then all of a sudden, the next minute, we're on to the next thing. That's the biggest problem. Like, I don't know if you've ever really thought about it, but think about what was the biggest topic that happened a month ago? Like, what was the biggest thing that happened in the political sphere? What happened in your local area? You know, a global thing that might have happened. You're probably not going to remember because we're programmed not to remember that. And it's weird to think about it, but that's the truth. And that's why things like what is happening right now, you know, are so significant because we wouldn't be in this problem if we had a chance to sit down and really sit down and comprehend what's going on. Okay. If we took the time to read about, you know, political bills that are going into effect, how this person's decisions are going to affect like our housing or how the spending is going to be done to affect our roads, those kind of things we don't do anymore. That's why, like our parents, we would look at them and be like, why are you sitting up there reading the newspaper? They were more informed than what we are right now. Like things would stick in their mind. And we need to get back to a point where we're teaching our kids. It's really going to be hard for us to get to that point, but we need to teach our kids, and we will eventually learn those habits. But if we teach our kids now how to, be more effective and be more present and aware, that will make them stronger. So that the way they don't have these pitfalls and they can see what's happening before it actually happens. I'm going to be honest with you. I look at people. Think about think about the recent strike that happened, or not strike, but the not lockout, the government shutdown. Okay, and I really want you to think about this. So we had a government shutdown that lasted 40 plus days. Okay, now in that government shutdown, our president was going off to other countries and dealing with other countries' wars, negotiations for their stuff, right? We're talking on a global level. Okay. Why were you not dealing with our domestic issues? Nobody really asked that question. Why are you not taking care of the domestic issue? This is your house. Why are you taking care of the people that are down the road? Why are you doing that? Nobody really asked that question. And those are the questions that we need to ask as a state. Like, and we're so distracted with whatever's going on, we're more, you know, we're not really thinking about the bigger effect. Be like, hey boss, why are you dealing with this? Why are you dealing with this problem way over here? You need to come home and deal with our problem, fix this first, and then go play with your friends over there. That's how it should have been done. So the bigger question is that you have to ask is like, why are you dealing with the problem that's not in your own house? And I promise you, I'm not trying to get political or anything like that. My thing is that I want you to really think about how you doing, Brian. I really want you to think about how we, take in information and how we deal with problems and why the problems that we have right now are so, significant. I remember, when I was going to high school, my dad worked one job, maybe, maybe. My dad worked one job, and most of the people that I knew worked one job, not multiple jobs. Like even like people that work at a steel doing blue collar jobs, one job to take care of their family. Why is that different now? Why can't we just have a two-job household where mom and dad are working, or you and your significant other are working, and you guys be able to do the things that you want to do? Like, what is the difference? Yes, the cost of living's gone up, and that's obviously going to happen because we're not in the 1970s and we have more roads and more people. That part makes perfect sense because that's growth. But why is it so that you have so much of a gap, and it doesn't make any sense? I could literally go to Texas right now and get the same size house as what would be here in Florida for half the price. Why is that? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not talking a house that's, like in Texas, you're out in, again, you're like in the desert, right? There's lots of brown. And where I live, I'm not by a theme park or anything like that. So for me, I don't understand why I'm paying exorbitant prices for something that I'm not getting to enjoy. I mean, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's take a look at the cost thing, right? So I just because I live in Florida, the Disney thing really never made sense to me. Why one of the people that I follow, this guy was getting pissed off. He's like, I will never spend another dime in Disney World ever again or Disneyland ever again. I'm like, why would you? That place is awesome. The place is great. Well, this year was the first time I ever looked at it. I was like, I will probably not go back to Disney World ever again because for a single day, and this is where the greed part comes into play, and this is where where they're gonna have to really change things. So for a single day to go to Disney World, you know, a place that has like 4 parks, it's $200 per person. Okay, $200. So if you yourself, okay, you were to take your family out there, that is going to cost you $1,200 for you to just take your family there. Okay, that is not including parking. That's not including food. That's not including lodging. That's not including your time and money to get there. That's just to walk your butt right into the park. Now, mind you, now that you're in the park, now you have to go on rides. And because that place is so large and it's so loved, you have to get through the crowd. So now you're sitting in line for 45 minutes to 2 hours just to go ride one ride. So you see where the problem is? The experience is not worth the money that you're putting into it. Whereas when the last time I went to Disney World it was $125 for the day, worth every penny. And that was for me to go to one theme park and we did something called Food and Wine Fest, worth every bit. But even corporations are getting way too greedy for themselves because you're providing people with less quality in order to ask them for more stuff, more money. And again, people are just accepting this. And when you stop accepting it, that's when you're going to run into a problem, or these companies are going to run into a problem. And I'm so looking forward to the day that people start making decisions with their wallets, because as soon as they do, these companies are going to suffer. Yeah, see, and that's not cool. That is not a cool experience. And honestly, you have to, from a corporate side of things, and I really firmly believe this. If you give somebody a good experience, they will pay the money for it, right? But you have to pack it in with value. So if I only get to ride 2 or 3 rides and I spend, in your case, like 20 something, I mean $2,000, and I only get one little thing and maybe, a small thing of food, that is not a good experience for me. And that's frustrating. And that has to change. Like America has to change their standards. Like it's a such a cluster. And I wouldn't say all of America needs to change. I just think parts of America need to get all on the same page. Start taking care of your fellow man and stop trying to get over on everybody. See? Yeah. See, you're getting on the same page with me on this. Same thing. Yeah, that is exactly a good example of that. You mean to tell me you're okay with paying $6 to $7 a gallon for gas? That I mean, come on, that's I would have been like, listen, governors, senators, do you understand that that's a problem? Maybe not for you because you get my tax dollars and you do all these little write-offs. So at the end of the day, it doesn't cost you a dime. But for me, the average American, yeah, yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, that is a humongous thing. And again, you know what the trick is? What they're going to do is that they will go ahead and they'll do something like that. The gas prices will be insane for like a month or so. And then they'll drop them dramatically and people will be like so relieved, and they're so relieved that they don't even think about that stuff anymore. They don't even go like, what if this happens again? What am I going to do? They don't even ask that question. Yes. 100%. 100%. You know, COVID should have been like a huge eye opener for people. You know, the whole thing about you getting those checks, right? Yeah, yeah. People are gonna go against each other. Friends that used to be friends, are gonna be against each other. But it's so easy to do if you're far, far away. Yeah. I mean, I've asked this question to a lot of people, when that whole government shutdown was going on, did any of those political leaders that were making a decision, did they lose their pay during that period of time? Probably not. Yeah. So when it starts affecting people's pockets, you know, and they start really sitting on these things, they'll be like, okay, look, you guys are not going to do a strike. You guys are not going to do a government shutdown because your government shutdown affects more people than you. Yeah. And it's a frustrating time for all of us. But if we really, start looking and digging in to how things are affecting us, we can start making more informed decisions. Stop making these decisions last minute. And I'm guilty of it. I didn't start really looking into things like on the political side of things until I was an adult because I didn't want to. I was like out of sight, out of mind. But now, as an adult, I look at things like I'm playing a game of chess. How does this decision I'm making now affect how things are going to go? When my kids are 22, 23. Yeah, I mean it's huge, and when you're making millions, it's hard for you to really look at it from that side of things, unless you have a kind and loving heart where you think about stuff like that. Otherwise, you don't give a damn. You're just like in your golden palace enjoying life. And I hope, one day, I educate my kid. Well, I'm not hoping that I educate my kids, but I hope all the information that I'm, you know, giving to my children, they will give to my grandkids. And because I'm a professor, I try to give this type of information to, children that I'm working with because I tell them, stop being lazy. That's your biggest problem right now. Stop being lazy. Stop thinking that everybody's going to help you out. You need to work. You need to learn skills. You need to learn how to critically think. If you cannot do that, you are doing yourself a disservice and you are feeding into this bigger engine of problems. I mean, whether people look at it or not, AI is going to be a problem long term. Automation is going to be a problem long term because it's no longer being used as the tool that it is, it's being used as the norm. And if we keep on saying, okay, I'm going to use this to do my cooking for me, or I just need to do a report. So I'm going to ask, whatever AI system to do that, you know, they can't do it. Think about it. How many kids nowadays really know how to spell? How many kids nowadays know how to sit down there and write a paper? How many kids know how to do mathematics skills without a calculator? Not a lot. Not a lot. How many kids do you see nowadays reading books? Yeah, because our world is made of two things: numbers and letters. That's it. That's the basics. And I think if we don't start teaching our kids how to really do those basic things of the critical thinking and reading skills, they're going to be screwed. And they're going to wonder why other people have power over them. It's because you didn't think about the long term consequences. I think it should be a mandatory thing that every child, no matter, as long as they can read, like if they're in eighth grade or even sixth grade, they need to read a book called Fahrenheit 451. Like, I think it's a very important book for people to read because it shows what happens when people are ignorant when people are ignorant and they don't have the resources to expand their horizons. So if you've never read the book or you've never heard the material, basically what ends up happening is that they get rid of all books. Like books are outlawed. And the only people that, you know, have the power are the people that knew about things prior, you know. And because they don't have those books, they are educated. They don't know history. Like you can't read a book about history, things that happened, 50 years prior. So you only know the information that's told to you versus the stuff that actually happened. You know, think about it. The resources that we have nowadays, most people only go to Google to get the information that they need. They'll read a book only if they need to. They don't do it for enjoyment. So that's my big thing. Like, I don't like lazy people. Don't come to me and like my students will come to me and be like, I didn't get a chance to do this. I'm like, look, we've had 4 weeks to do this assignment. You mean to tell me in 4 weeks you didn't touch it and now you're just doing it? No, I don't have any sympathy for you. And if you come to me and give me an excuse like, and I'm not saying that I'm cruel, but if you come to me and be like, hey, my grandparent died or whatever like that, I'd be like, I understand that, but I set this up for you so that way you could one communicate and Two, you need to be aware of what's going on. Your grandparent died, recently, but the assignment was due 3 weeks prior to that. So what happened? You got lazy. You didn't want to do the work. And then when you want to go get a job, you have a harder time because you didn't put in the work. I mean, hell, going to McDonald's sucks now. Yes, entitlement is a huge issue for me. I literally went to a McDonald's and the person looked at me and I was standing in line. They're like, "No, I can't help you. You need to go use the kiosk." Like, what? Hold on. When did McDonald's lose their customer service? Like, I'm not paid to work here. I'm paying you to take my order. I had that happen to me. I haven't been back to one ever since. I had that happen to me at a Taco Bell. Same thing. I was like, what is wrong with you? You are literally right there from the register. Perfect. Well, just let you know if you're on Thursday morning, I'll be back up here doing the same thing. I wish you all the best. You have a blessed day. Take care of you and your family. All right. I think that's a wrap. Blade is done. All right. All right, guys. That is a wrap. I got to get going. I got stuff to do. So have yourselves a good one. I will see you Thursday morning. I believe I'm supposed to be up here on 9 o'clock Thursday morning. So I will talk to you later. Peace.